Taiwan, I'm Brossard with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's cabinet has passed a revised draft of the Gender Equality Act. It follows a wave of accusations of sexual harassment against high-profile figures from Taiwan's political and entertainment circles. James Chater reports.
Over the past few months, a wave of sexual harassment allegations has rocked Taiwanese society. Accusations have been made against high-profile figures from the worlds of entertainment and politics, reaching all the way to Taiwan's ruling party. In response, the government has published new amendments to laws aimed at protecting victims. New proposals include raising jail time to a maximum of 3 years and increasing fines for employers that commit offences.
这一次的修法的重点，就是希望以保护被害人为中心，这个核心精神。
今天的记者会现在开始。
The amendments follow what's been called Taiwan's MeToo moment, sparked by a Netflix series that depicted a political staffer facing sexual harassment at work. The show has inspired more than 100 accusations in real life, but rights groups said existing laws don't protect those who come forward.
他会说，我就是想要告那个行为人，可是，在现行的法律系统里面，他没有办法按照性骚扰防治法去提出申诉，就因为我们大家都在做切割。
The new proposals still need to be passed by Taiwan's legislature, but lawmakers are hoping this wave of public pressure will be what's needed to enact lasting change. Andy Xue and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
Police have closed the case on the alleged drugging of kindergartners due to a lack of evidence. But while the criminal side of the scandal is over, its political fallout looks set to continue. John Van Trieste has the latest.
After a month at the center of a frenzy, it could soon be business as usual again at this new Taipei kindergarten. Some parents say their children were drugged with sedatives here, but testing didn't turn up any drugs, and investigators say there's not enough evidence to press charges. The city government had pulled the school's license, but is now set to reinstate it. Now it's become a question of political blame. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party says new Taipei Mayor Ho Youyi should apologize. Ho is running for president as the candidate of the opposition Kuomintang, and this scandal comes in the middle of his campaign.
整个应该要负起最大的社会责任就是侯友宜市长，因为他在未审先判的状况底下呢，就把幼儿园给停照，采取最严厉的处分。那他也在呢身向未明的状况底下，就对社会大众定调，居心叵测的老师，那是由这个幼儿园相关的来喂药。
But Ho's Kuomintang says it was DPP politicians and their allies who fanned the rumors and turned up the heat of discussion for political gain. On Thursday, Kuomintang lawmaker Wang Hongwei held this press conference alongside one of the accused teachers to call on DPP candidate Lai Qingde to apologize.
赖清德，你向这些老师来道歉，为这个事件来道歉，有这么困难吗？你的腰这么硬吗？你这么傲慢吗？这么多年轻老师，他们所受到的委屈，不值得你一个道歉吗？
Caught in the middle of this storm are teachers like Ms. He. She and her colleagues received threats and abuse and had their photos and personal information made public. She plans to sue, but for her and her colleagues, much of the damage is already done.
司法可以还给我们清白，但没有人还给我们公道。这些网友，这些政治人物，到底拿着什么去质疑我们？
Though investigators have closed this case, its aftermath, both personal and political, is far from over. Devin Tsai and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has conducted a rehearsal for its upcoming annual Hanguang military exercises, which focused on coastal defense. Our reporter Jaime Ocon was there.
Taiwan's military is wrapping up a practice coastal defense exercise here at the port of Taipei, just 30 kilometers away from the capital. Soldiers here are training how to move supplies and equipment from the base nearby to the coastline. Now, soldiers dressed in red, those are supposed to be the opposing enemy forces. Now, they're trying to make a beachhead and trying to land additional forces on the beach. Now, Taiwan's job is to use a combination of tanks, amphibious landing crafts, and Humvees armed with missiles to keep them from establishing a beachhead. There was also a reconnaissance drone in the air providing surveillance for the soldiers on the ground. And it wasn't just ground forces. Navy and Coast Guard ships were also in the vicinity, providing extra support and laying mines in case of an additional landing. This is all just a rehearsal for the upcoming Hongguang military exercises. Those take place at the end of the month and last for 5 days. It's the country's largest annual drills, and Taiwan is going to simulate how it would respond to an attack from China. One of the key themes of this year's drill is a focus on protecting key infrastructure, places like airports and seaports, places that would be crucial for China to land troops. With so much depending on a successful defense of Taiwan's coastline, soldiers here are going to get plenty of practice today and in 2 weeks' time when the actual drills kick off. John Su and Hameo Khan in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
NATO says China is a major challenge to its interests, security, and values. The alliance of European and North American countries says China wants to project power, but is opaque about its military buildup. NATO issued the statement during a summit of the heads of state in Lithuania. It also said China's cyber operations and disinformation campaigns target NATO members and harm their security. In response, China says NATO's statement is a deliberate attempt to discredit it. Chinese hackers reportedly accessed the email accounts of the U.S. Commerce Secretary and other senior officials. Microsoft and U.S. authorities say they became aware of the hack last month. They say Chinese hackers, likely affiliated with China's military or spy services, looked at the emails in May. This was just weeks before U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited China. The U.S. says it's investigating the hack and that no classified email or cloud systems were affected. Thailand's leading candidate for prime minister has been dealt a double blow ahead of a crucial vote on who will take the post. Pita Limjaroenrat is facing 2 separate complaints in the Constitutional Court, putting him at risk of being disqualified. Joyce Tsang reports from Thailand's parliament.
The frontrunner to be Thailand's next prime minister arrives at parliament for the biggest vote of his career. Pita Limjaroenrat's path to the top job has been full of twists and turns, and there could be more yet to come. In just a few hours, lawmakers will decide who gets the post, but it's almost impossible to predict how that will go. Pita is fending off some last-minute roadblocks to his bid. Yesterday, 2 complaints were filed against him in Constitutional Court. One centers on Pita's plan to reform Thailand's royal defamation law, which makes it illegal to criticize the king. The other case argues that Pita should be disqualified as a lawmaker for holding shares of a media organization, a breach of electoral rules. And some Thai people are viewing this as political manipulation.
ว่ามันเป็นเกมของการเมืองมากกว่าครับก็กังวลทันเขาเล็กน้อยนะครับเพราะว่ามันก็เป็นสิ่งที่ต้องแบบต่อสู้กัน
รู้สึกว่าไม่ค่อยแฟร์แล้วก็ไม่โปร่งใสที่แบบทำไมถึงต้องมาเป็นวันนี้ก่อนที่จะได้รับโหวตในวันพรุ่งนี้มีนัยยะอะไร
Some of Pita's supporters came out in protest immediately after the news of the cases broke, while others urged people not to go out as to not give the commission any more reason to view Pita and his supporters as disruptive. While all this was going on, Thailand's incumbent Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, who took over the country 9 years ago with a military coup, announced his retirement from politics. The move appears to usher in a new government, but what that will look like is still unclear. Pita and other lawmakers arrived here this morning amid heavy traffic and police presence. They are now in session, and the vote is set for this evening to decide whether they think Pita is fit to be prime minister. Alex Chen and Joyce Sun in Bangkok for TaiwanPlus.
New footage has emerged of floods in southwestern China. Water poured from a bridge in Sichuan province on Tuesday after heavy rain. More than 40,000 people were evacuated from the area, which has been battered by downpours. According to state television, over 30 centimeters of rain fell in parts of Sichuan in less than a day. Flooding and mudslides across central and southwestern China have destroyed homes and killed several people. This comes just weeks after the country experienced a record-breaking heat wave. Chinese authorities are already warning of more extreme weather throughout July. At least 40 people are dead and thousands have been displaced by floods in northern India. That's after record-breaking rains struck the country over the last week. Several of India's northern states have been hit, including the capital, New Delhi. Hundreds of residents are being evacuated as the city's Yamuna River has risen to its highest levels in nearly half a century. Landslides and flash floods across the country have killed hundreds this monsoon season. Experts warn that extreme weather like this will become more widespread as the climate crisis worsens. Czech-born author Milan Kundera has died at the age of 94. The writer of The Unbearable Lightness of Being passed away in Paris on Tuesday after a long illness. Kundera was one of the 20th century's most influential novelists, but spent much of his life in seclusion. His first novel, 1967's The Joke, satirized Czechoslovakia's then-ruling Communist Party. He was later declared an enemy of the regime and spent the rest of his life in exile. It's one of the biggest days of the year for Taiwan's top professional baseball league, Draft Day. It's when the newest players find out who they're playing for in the upcoming season. Bing Wong reports from the event.
It's the end of draft season. When the picks are announced for CPBL, the top pro league of Taiwan's most popular sport, baseball. The order of the draft is determined by the team's records. The teams that ranked lowest last season pick first, and so on.
The draft is important because it is the biggest source of new players for the teams in the CPBL. For teams in the league, there is very little trade activity because teams usually hold on to their guys for as long as possible.
The country's top baseball league has 6 teams, all of them vying for the next baseball superstar. And one of them could come through in this draft. Teams have done months, even years of research on the players. They would go watch them play in their high school, college, and in other international leagues. Here in Taichung in central Taiwan, baseball fans have gathered to watch the yearly draft announcements. Dozens of players will be picked, hoping to make their teams and their fans proud. Fans are excited about their new players, and the players feel the same.
刚开始坐上去的时候就蛮紧张的吧，然后听到自己的名字被叫到之后，然后就心中的大石头就放下来，然后就整个状态跟心里都是蛮放松的，就是终于到这个地方。
第一顺位指名选手林子伟。
The first player drafted is Lin Ziwei, an infielder formerly of the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins in the U.S.'s Major League Baseball. Being drafted is just the first step into professional baseball, but there's a long way to go to become an all-time great. One thing is for sure, all the players here will try their hardest to become the next baseball superstar. Howard Zhang and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's top female volleyball players are getting ready to set and spike their way into the Asian Games in China this September. Their coach says this time around they're playing faster and more powerfully.
因为近几年的女生，其实在不管是在欧洲或亚洲，其实打球的球风跟球速都一直往男生这一边靠拢，所以我也是希望说，我们中华女排这一次也是可以稍微有点改变。 来做一个球风的一个所谓的靠近男生的打球的风格，这样。
There are less than 75 days until the games, and to prepare, the players have gathered at the National Training Center in Kaohsiung. This is a new team. It came together in February this year. There's also an age gap between some of the players, but they say it's not a problem.
其实我觉得我们在球场上打球的感觉，其实我觉得不会差很多，但是我觉得会被年轻的小学妹那种热血的活力带动。
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of ice cream treats inspired by the tiles of Thailand's famous Temple of Dawn. I'm Brossard. Take care and see you next time.